Hello, this is Julia Valentine, founder of AlphaMel, and I am here with Robert Henry. Robert, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate this.
So, we're here to talk about lifestyle challenges, lifestyle concerns, and issues and demands of family offices. So, Robert, before we delve into it, would you just give us a little bit about your background, your company, your experience in this area?
Sure. I've been in healthcare for 33 years in South Florida. Have an extensive background in with um, sports and uh, high-end clientele. We have an extensive background, my family, with medicine. So been around it my whole life. I've owned outpatient centers around the state of Florida. I've been involved in every level of healthcare and ownership
Mhm,
and management. So
mhm,
it's a passion of mine, honestly, to get into the
mhm.
field, to be in here for quality. I think my background has always had a quality based services, and watching the trend of healthcare, watching how healthcare has um, continues to the dynamics continue to change, and unfortunately, I see a decrease in quality. I see a decrease in the proper care that people should be getting. My wife and I started this company as a to really increase the awareness of what's out there, but also give the product that people are looking for and really the quality care that they really need to have. It's just it's an unfortunate situation in healthcare, but we're making the difference. We're making a stand against the norm and really coming in the private care world and setting a new standard.
So you mentioned the overall trend of decrease in quality. What are some of the forces behind it? What do you think is driving that?
I think the overall industry has changed. The bedside manner of physicians have changed. The quality of the care, I do think the insurance industries are a main thrust of performance.
Mm-hmm,
They're distracting the physicians from doing the care that they should be doing,
mm-hmm,
or the therapy or the nurses, and more reporting, more notes, more coding of how to get paid. And
mm-hmm,
I think there's a lot of people with good hearts in the industry that want to help people. I
mm-hmm,
feel like there's too much red tape.
mm-hmm,
The time that's spent is based on that and how you're reporting. I see it in the hospitals that we go to. I see it in the home health settings,
mm-hmm.
outpatient therapy settings. Everybody is just working for the insurance carrier, or because of uh, you find maybe the ownership, the capital group that owns a physician practice or a hospital. There, it's all about how do I squeeze the revenue the most so it comes to
Yeah.
the top. And I understand the business aspect of healthcare, but there
Mm-hmm.
has to be a balance. And right now, it's very much out of balance.
Precisely. And for the clientele that can pay, what are the options that you're providing to them? Because they are not concerned about being restricted by their healthcare insurance, right? If they want to write a check, they can just write a check. So, what is it that they can get over and above your usual tired and rushed, 5 minute visit, kind of in and out, get out of here?
Yeah. I think for us, stepping into the white glove concierge private
Yeah.
sector, where we have adjusted is, the customer service part of that, the quality of care. We're the top provider down here in South Florida with quality care. Our
Mhm.
focus is always to help people and give them the best possible care, whether it's with a nurse or a caregiver.
Mhm.
We're the only company who really vets higher than the standard state mandates. We're one of the only companies who does personality profiling. So we try to
Mhm.
match each nurse or each caregiver with a family personality, what they're looking for, the specifics that they want,
Mhm.
whether it's even multiple languages, it's, somebody who maybe it has maybe a quieter personality, or we kind of match somebody who's like very vibrant. They want somebody so
Right.
that has very alive. So we
Right.
have that. We already have the talent and how we vet. We've turned away over 200, just last year, 244 caregivers that we turned away because they didn't meet our standards, and RNs as well. That if somebody's in this for the wrong reason, we're vetting them because it's about care. So we want to make sure the personality is amazing. We also want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that they're in this because it really matters. The quality of giving somebody, they have to have empathy. There's a lack of empathy that we see in the industry. There's a lack of true compassion when people are going through what
Mm-hmm.
they're going through. And every person that we have in our office has been a caretaker or is doing that with a family member. My wife and I have taken care of our family, my parents as well as siblings, and my wife just went through cancer. We understand a what it's like to go through these things, and money can separate, but health is an equalizer. And people really want somebody to come out and understand their plight, understand what they're going through, and have that time and compassion with them. And so we really separate that by sending them people that have that the quality and the compassion um, for their situation is there, and making
Mm-hmm.
sure that every detail, we really take time to make sure that the detail work that family is looking for is there, whether it's traveling to multiple homes, whether it's they like to travel throughout Europe, and we need a nurse with this kind of a talent or skill set to travel with us, or whatever that is. We're used to flight crews. We're used
Right.
to having ancillary services. That is an extensive list of ancillary services that nobody else offers, whether it's executive helicopter transportation or dental work in your home. If you want to be lying in your bed, we can actually have services that will treat you there, or podiatry or wound care, music therapy, special needs. We're now stepping into detox, celebrity detox at home,
Mm-hmm.
neonatal when it comes to somebody who's in need of having a quality lactation consultant and having a quality RN come to the house with
Mm-hmm.
the family or with their wife, and really making sure that they're getting the best care and calming the situation, educating families who maybe aren't used to that, having those new changes in life.
Mm-hmm.
So we really try to, what we offer is very different than what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's really nobody offering these things, and like I said, but we're doing this as uh, an extensive quality service.
Robert, for someone who is not uh, familiar or hasn't really thought through this, why is it important
Mm.
to preserve one's privacy? In other words, when you're saying, "Oh, can I do this at home as opposed to being in the hospital?" There is an actual need for privacy behind it, right? People get photographed. I mean, this is
But we,
not kind of a frivolous request. This is really about the privacy of the family.
it's truly a privacy of the family, and
Hmm.
we saw what happened with that CEO. There's
Yep.
people out there that are doing and make rogue statements and
Hmm.
take matters in their own hands. So you have, as the world changes, we want to change with it, make sure the privacy and the security of every family is utmost. So
Hmm.
not everybody wants their business out there. They don't want people to know, and I don't blame them.
Yep.
They made it this far, doing a great work and doing and investing into the future, and they just want that private moment when they're having a weak moment or a weak time, or
Hmm.
just a more intimate time with their family. They to have that somebody to come out there, and they don't have to think twice about what's happening in the house. People calling us because they know that we are Loctite, that we're really there for them, and um, it's not about taking anything else. It's really about their personal needs, and we're here to cater to that, and have that we take that very seriously. Their
Hmm.
security, like I said, whether it's just the privacy part or the physical security of somebody who's at a high level of that. They
Hmm.
really need that kept in their home.
So, what do you think are the most important considerations when looking for um, lifestyle help? What are some of the things that you would advise families to think through ahead of time? Let's say if it's the first time that, they need to bring somebody in.
I get that question a lot, and we tailor make that for every family. We have a lot of families say, "Listen, I've never been through this. What do I do with this?"
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
being in healthcare for so long, there's an expertise that comes with us. You're not
Hmm.
just having an average business person. I mean, you're having somebody who's physically, and we've had experience firsthand. I understand the stress that go with that and how to help solve that for families if they're not overwhelmed with this. Sometimes they'll families will have maybe they underestimate how something's going to be. They think, oh, well, yeah, I have this, and I've heard that too many times. We only need this, and this, and it's a small amount. So I will interject to say, contemplate this, and I'll give them a well-rounded view of, I've seen this. You're probably going to need X, Y, and Z for a certain amount
Hmm.
of time, and try to give them tailor make each situation.
Yeah.
So I take that time as the owner of the company. I do take that time, and those that we bring in, as well as our quality assurance concierge, they all have experience. They've been RNs. They've been on the care side of healthcare for a long time, and so we offer a lot of expert advice, and we really tailor make that for each family. So there's not one clear cut answer to that. It's really
Hmm.
taking what that family needs and saying, here's how we can solve your problems. We never say we can't. We'll always find a problem. We'll always find a solution to the problems. We never have not had a solution for every family. And like I said, it's very different for each person. But we had high success on taking that time with them and really give them the time that they need to process with them.
So, the last question for you, um, can you recall just one story, something that really stuck with you, where you said to yourself, "This is really worth it. Like, I'm glad that I'm doing this. This is really warms my heart." And it's obviously you have a business, you're a business person, but you also bring a lot of empathy into it. And so I'm sure something must have really touched you deeply that you saw.
There, there's a lot of those stories. Honestly, I think because we are compassionate and empathetic, and I've been through so much. My mom has had ALS, which is if you're familiar with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, it takes away your ability to swallow, to breathe right, to lose your muscular ability. And this is just one of those stories. There's a young man who came to us, and I just felt to share. He came to us, he had ALS, he's 52 years old. He lost both of his parents to ALS. His brother had ALS.
Oh my God.
um, Very, just a tragic story. His family did well. They were in the finance world. Um, he was left in a position of just, he couldn't use his arms well. He needed assistance for everything. A very humbling position. And I shared with him about my mom. I said, "You don't have to worry about this. I understand. I truly understand." And there was a connection with that with him, and he was just slowly building, digressing, and he needed more care, and he was just at that teetering spot where he didn't really want to accept the nighttime care because in psychologically that means that you've digressed to that point.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I understand it because going through that with my family.
Mm-hmm.
But this,
Mm-hmm.
so one morning, 3 in the morning, he called me one day and said, I've act, what are you doing? I said, "I'm sleeping. What are you doing?" He's like, "I fell out of my bed. My breathing apparatus is up there. I'm hanging upside down." And he lived a good 45 minutes away from my house. And he called my cell phone. I just took my wife and said, I got to go take care of him. And I went because he didn't have care at night. I went to his house, came in, cleaned him up, put him back in bed. And we just had some good conversation and made him feel like it's like he was worthy. It made him help it to make him feel like it wasn't a big deal and that he really mattered. And it was a really great interaction. And I said, and tomorrow you will have care at night. It's that way you can be taken care of. But that relationship that we've had, he has since passed.
Mm.
really stuck with me of really why I'm in this. I'm really in this to help people. I'm really in this to change that. And his life was permanently changed. He, in tears, has come to me during that time and shared over and over again how I've impacted his perspective with what that people actually do care. He felt that people didn't care. They were just there for his money or just there for whatever. But it wasn't about that. It was about him and meeting him where he's at and making him feel that he had value. And so his name was Ray, and Ray really has impacted me in a ripple effect of really a standard that I think for me, but also that I share with the company, and everybody in the company really knows about him because it's very iconic. That's where our care level goes to. Whatever that
Mhm.
client needs, we want to make them feel valued. We want to make them feel honored, respected. They're going through a trauma in their life that nobody predicted, and it's maybe unfair, but life happens, and we're there to help bridge that for them and empower them with whatever stage that they're at. That kind of makes sense. That there's others, but that one for me is a real key one because
Mhm.
it was a very deep place where we kind of engage each other.
Mhm. Mhm. Robert, it's a very touching story, and I thank you so much for speaking with me today. Uh, I think that health is the most important thing. My grandmother was a doctor, and she always told me health is the only thing you really always need to worry about. You know
True.
what I mean? It's just such a foundation, everything that happens. And so it's very traumatic to go into anything, where a member of the family is sick. And so thank you so much for speaking of empathy and speaking of compassion, when you speak about this. So I think
I really appreciate
Mhm.
you having me on this. It's really it's a privilege to be here. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much.
All right.